All right, thanks, guys. Happy Thursday Well, it's about lunchtime here on the East Coast, so happy noontime, I guess. But anyway, we improved to 5-1 straight up in our last six Underdog tier package picks on Patreon.com/BrockPage yesterday, and that's good for 83% during that short span. And of course, that's a website that I operate that gives you premium daily sports picks beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. We're also 8-2 straight up in our last 10 plays in that same category. Good for 80% during that stretch as well. And we'll get to talking a little bit more about that in just a second. But before we go ahead and move on, let's take a look at some Russian Liga Pro table tennis action. And we're going to start with Vlad Shirokov squaring off against Dmitri Merzlinkin in a 6 p.m. Eastern showdown. Merzlinkin's won 2 out of his last 3, including a solid 3-1 victory over Chensov during that span. He shut out his opponent in 5 out of his last 8 victories as well. He's taking on a Shirokov opponent who's coming fresh off a 3-0 defeat to Vlad Petrov in his last outing. He's also lost his last 2 straight contests by way of shutout. He's currently on a 5-match losing streak and failed to beat the likes of Petrov, Abramoff, and Shirokov during that span. His 4-11 record in his last 15 is good for just 26% during that span. Doesn't look like too great of a spot for Shirokov here. Give me Dmitri Merzlinkin winning this one straight up for some money line cash. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Friday's Russian Liga Pro table tennis action, getting a little bit of a head start here on tomorrow's action. But before we go ahead and move on with the program, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we improved to 5-1 straight up in our last 6 Dog of the Day tier package plays, good for 83% in that span. We're also 8-2 straight up in our last 10 Underdog tier package plays in that same category. Good for 80% in that category as well. Of course, that's a very good package for us right now. We do daily premium sports picks on that website beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. We'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. Currently, we have well over 525 members signed up and active on that page. Now, you might be wondering, why would all those folks sign up to receive Patreon picks where they can get them right here for free on YouTube? And that's certainly a great point, a great concern. But there is a big problem with me handicapping every single game on the board, side and total. And the problem is this. If you were to bet every single game that's on the board that I put out here on YouTube, side and total, day in and day out, you are certainly guaranteeing yourself failure. And I know that sounds crazy, but you just got to hear me out. If you're going to go ahead and bet every single game that's on the slate with your hard-earned money, side and total, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's a recipe for disaster. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp. They have a lot more money than you and I do combined, to be able to absorb that kind of action. And most important, guys, listen up here. The math becomes aggressively against you the more and more games you play like that. So what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you. I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage picks, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current Patreon record is a whole lot better than it is here on YouTube, handicapping every single game that is on the slate, side and total. And the good news for you is this. If you want to go ahead and check out my current Patreon record, you actually have access to that right now. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to give me an email, nothing like that. You can do that for free right now. It's located right on the homepage. All you have to do to check out my current Patreon record is click the link in the description section below. It's right on the homepage. And once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive back into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck we have Alex Chensov squaring off against Kirill Abramoff in a 6:30 p.m. start time. Abramoff's coming off a very impressive 3-0 shutout victory over Chensov in his last outing. He's also been victorious in 2 out of his last 3, including a 3-1 victory over Vlad Shirokov during that span as well. His 7-1 straight-up record in his last 8 is good for a win percentage of .875. He's also been victorious in 9 out of his last 10 as well. Now, Chentsov on the other side certainly has his work cut out for him. He's not only coming off a 3-zip shutout defeat, he's also been victorious in just 3 out of his last 8. He lost to the likes of Abramoff, Petrov, and Merzlinkin during that stretch. He's also been victorious in just 5 out of his last 15 outings as well. Looks like a pretty rotten spot here for Chentsov backers. Give me Kirill Abramoff getting the job done on the money line. Next contest, it is going to be Alex Gribkov squaring off against Dmitri Kalashnikov in a 6:30 p.m. Eastern start. Dmitri's coming off an impressive 3-0 victory over Gribkov in his last contest. He's currently on a 2-match win streak, including a 3-1 victory over Vlad Safanov. His 5-1 record in his last 6 is good for 83% in that short span. He's also been victorious over the likes of Gribkov and Kirilenko within his last handful of wins as well. And speaking of Gribkov, he's coming off a tough 3-2 defeat to Vlad Safanov in his most recent match. He's currently on a 2-match losing streak, including a humiliating 3-0 shutout loss to Gribkov during that span. Alex also dropped 4 out of his last 6 and finds himself posting a record of just 5-9 in his last 14. Doesn't look like too appetizing of a spot here for Gribkov. Give me Dmitri Kalashnikov getting the job done in convincing fashion. Next and final matchup for the show, Vlad Nemishchuk taking on Yevgeny Yukkin in a 6:30 p.m. battle. Yevgeny's coming off a tough 3-1 defeat to Alex Skrebnev. He's also lost his last 2 straight matches, including a 3-1 defeat to Vlad Nemishchuk. His current 6-match losing streak is amongst the worst in Russia Liga Pro. He was also shut out by Alex Petrov during that span, while also posting a record of just 4-9 in his last 13. Nemishchuk on the other side, a little bit different sentiment, as he's been victorious in 2 out of his last 3 himself, including a hard-fought victory against Denis Sayanov 3-2. He also beat Alex Petrov 3-2 during that span as well. Vlad's currently 5-1 straight up in his last 6, good for a win percentage of .833 during that run. It looks like a pretty good spot for Nemishchuk here. Give me Vlad Nemishchuk getting the job done for some moneyline cash. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. And from the Patreon platform, shout out to Justin Van Kuren, Jay Williams, Brian T., Terrell Parrott, Brandon Saunders, Willie Slade, Frank Capra, and Chemo136. From Instagram, got to give a shout out to Jack Vossler. Also, shout out to Cody Thrive, who, once again, like I said in my other videos, he's actually Cody Dunlap from MTV Stranded with $1 million. Pretty much the only famous friend I have out there. But he's got some great Instagram content, some great YouTube content, great content on arbitrage, buying and selling stocks, all kinds of great stuff. He's like the jack of all trades, so shout out to him. Shout out to Manoj Kumar and Bubba Jonesy, who also a good friend of mine. He's the best cooker of smoked ribs on the East Coast, I guarantee it. That's Bubba Jonesy. Anyway, guys, I also want to give a shout out to Angie619, Garrett Warner, Rio Brazil Official, and got to give a shout out to my good friend Jimmy from GhostPicksATS.com. And I said earlier, Jimmy's one of the few actual friends I have in the business. It's certainly not a thing of popularity to have a lot of friends within our community. But anyway, Jimmy, appreciate the grind and hustle you put in. And as you would say, good luck, God bless, and grind on. All right, finally, some shout-outs from the YouTube platform. Shout out to Ari Kumar, Billy Boogaloo, who, like I said on my earlier video, Billy Boogaloo sent me a video linked to a fart sound yesterday, so thanks, Billy. Shout out to Jitendra Singh, Six Skills, Ryan Balby, Kataman Adawag, Dogkin Sozin, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man, Sachin Patel. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.